Hey, Cape Flats Stories, good evening, goeienaand my mense. Hoop dit gaan goed saam met julle. We've got some special guests in the studio with us, and we're going to talk a bit politics tonight with two very well-known people that has been, out there talking about politics, very liberal. I think one of them you will know. He's been in the politic field for many years, and I love the way he speaks. He speaks for the people, genuine guy, and also he's deputy president as well. So you will be speaking to us tonight, and guys, you are welcome to ask questions. Please do ask questions. A lot of you guys have asked me that we should get Neil on the show and we should talk to him. And you guys want to know more about the UIM, and tonight you have your opportunity to do so. So with me in the studio, I have Neil the Beer. I have president of the UIM. I've got Fatima Abdool, deputy president, and I also have my best friend and colleague Byron McDonald. Good evening, everybody, and welcome.
Hey, ek het gedink sy gaan vir my ook nou sê vice president of iets, so sê sy my best friend. You leave me nog as one side, the vice president of Cape Flats Stories. Hi Neil and Fatima, how are you doing?
We're doing good. I'm doing well. Thank you very much, Byron. And Stan, thank you so much for the privilege. And good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening, I Stan. Jy kan nie ou sonder 'n title los nie, my broers. Dit hom. Ek dink dit. Khoisan leadership back.
It's a Khoisan leadership.
But
I'm going to give you an honorary title. I'll make sure we get you something.
But Neil and Fatima, Neil, if you would like to go first, just to introduce yourself. Make us verseker klomp mense ken jy al by nou, but just to reiterate to some that don't know you, who you are and what you're trying to do for this country. Also, ek sal like some night to hoor. Ons gaan in, but just who you are.
Yeah, firstly, I want to thank. I love Stan. Stan's a man, you know. He's a great man. He's a humble man. Maar hy is ons mense. So hy die CV nodig. Hy is die ding. So it's good to see you, Stan. And always great to have the opportunity. Byron, thank you for the invite. You're an amazing human being, Byron. And I think your story is one day going to be worth a book yourself, because what you go through and what you've gone through, it encapsulates survival, encapsulates attitude. So it's an honor and a privilege to meet you as well. And my lovely vice president, kyk hoe sit sy daar. Sy lyk miskien vandag of sy lam is, maar sy's maar, hoe sê die ou, sy kan etter raak, die tannie kan skel. So it's goed om vir my daar te sien, my sister Fatima. Byron, easy. I'm an ordinary man that lived a very unordinary life. A lot of people will know me as a person that came through the ranks of the ANC. I joined Umkhonto weSizwe in 1988. I'm a freedom fighter. I picked up the gun. So het goed gebom, my broer. And we decided in the 88s, you know, that myself and a guy called Andre Lincoln, a guy called Jeremy van die Elsies, we were a team. Another guy called Brand Stein, you know, we formed a MK intelligence service team in the 80s, which I joined, and we joined. Everybody knows who Jeremy Vieri is. And who Andre Lincoln is. They're both major generals in the police, both of them currently also in SAPS, some of them fighting for their life and survival. But I'm a struggle man. I.e., ek is nie bang as dit moet tyd is om op te staan as goed fout is, om weer strate toe te gaan nie. To me, it is about the people. And I said, ek is jy van die whiteies man. Ek is if you wrong, you wrong, man. You know, if you're a bully, I don't like you. So I became a businessman. I was in intelligence. I was trained by the KGB. I fought for the liberation of you and me. and I became a businessman. Currently, I'm the president of an international fund. I've got several entrepreneurship businesses. I have a charity, that's my life. If I could just give, as ek net kan gee, then I would have lived that life. But now I've decided with Fatima and with all of us that the Mandela legacy, my dad, Nelson was my dad, he's died twice, Byron. He died physically, and then the ANC killed him. They killed his spirit. And when I noticed in 2017 that Ubuntu, the Rainbow Nation, the struggle, that 27 years later we ended up with nothing, that I would again get up, that I will again make my voice louder, this time a little bit bigger, because I'm a bit older, it's a bietjie grys, ek het 'n bietjie groter geraak in kennis en in die wêreld, and then I decided, the hell with it. I'm getting up, and I'm going to say to the same ANC that I grew up, you're not anymore my friend. You're not my family, and I'm going to stop what you are doing. And that's it. I'm the president of a movement that became a party, that became the people. And I was honored to be joined by Fatima Abdool. Fatima, an icon in her own right. My sister, jy weet, sy dink ek is maar 'n bietjie mal partymal. You must see her face when she's around me, because she says there's never a dull moment with us. And Byron, I love what I do, but more than that, Neil de Beer is a mens. Neil de Beer is a people's person, be it from the Cape Flats, Phoenix, Chatsworth, of hy lae lande van Khayelitsha, Chakaya, Mandi, of Soweto, of Diepsloot. I know my people, and that's who I am. I'm currently running for the mayorship as of Friday of Cape Town. And more questions about that, why, and I will let go, but I can tell you, dis warm in die Kaap, my broer, die mense gons. En Byron, I can't wait to serve. That's it. I can't wait to serve our people, and that's it. So Byron, that's it. Normal guy, just me, but love my people.
Love that. I get the serving point there. Fatima, ons meer hoor van jou af.
Ja, ek weet nie wat om nou te sê na daai production ek I was not nearly as involved, but it feels as if my life and Neil's life was a kind of parallel. I think I'm the Neil's alter ego. I'm a colored woman. Die ander kant van Neil. So I grew up, I was born in the Northern Cape, and in a plek met die naam van Taung, and I grew up in Pretoria, came to Gauteng, and it was just a normal life, but I was very aware of what was happening politically, because I had teachers that disappeared now and then, and they would come back, and then when they come back, instead of giving us English or Afrikaans or history lessons, we knew what was going on underground. And but I'm in a small community that wasn't very active in terms of riots and stuff like that. At some stage, I studied after school, after matric, and I was always involved in marches, always going to the union buildings or to Church Square, because I wanted to make a difference and so on. Most of the times, or some of the times, I didn't really know what the march was all about, but I just knew I had to go and demonstrate my dissatisfaction of what's happening in my country. At some stage, I actually worked for the National Party because my mother was, very involved there. But it was very interesting, because before that, I was actually part of NUMSA, which is a union of the ANC. But I was very young. I was 18 years old. And I was also aware of what's happening then. After that, I worked for the National Party, but I actually gave information to my friends in NUMSA. So in a way, I wasn't so involved like Neil, but in a way, there is some similarities. I think the thing that drives both of us, myself specifically, is the fact that I'm concerned about the people that I will leave behind one day. I'm concerned that what type of country will be left for my children's children. And when I saw that it's just going to the dogs, it's irritating me and I don't know what to do, I took to Facebook just to vent my emotions. I'm actually by profession, I'm an actress. And I became an activist because it's no use. I'm living this glamorous life and signing autographs and people recognizing me. When I come home, people are suffering. My people are still in distress. Young people are still dying. Teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, all of those things are still happening. And politicians are just getting fatter and fatter and buying bigger cars and bigger houses. Wat van my mense? That is what drove me to where I am right now. And when Neil de Beer, him and I connected online, because I saw the UIM, I recognized the UIM as the new kid on the block. And I could see this kid should not be undermined. You know, sometimes the little boy that is growing up is being chased away. Hey, bly stil, gaan weg, die groot mense praat. And I saw this UIM as this boy that is growing up and is becoming a mighty force to be reckoned with. When I met Neil de Beer when he was here in Gauteng, ons het net gejal, man. There was just something, and I was still part of another party. But I was very drawn to the philosophy, the ideologies, the principles that the UIM represents resonated with me. And so when he offered me I wouldn't say the position, because position sounds very static, but what is the word? Die werksposisie, because for me this is about work, it's not about a seat. Die werksposisie that I was offered, it was a no-brainer, because we are in sync, we want the same thing, and the bottom line is we want not a better, the best South Africa that we can be, that we should have been 27 years ago. That's not my long introduction.
Maar ek wil net straight in dit gaan ook nou, because I understand myself. You will never find solutions on just a 1 hour chat or stuff like that. But I like to give understanding to people, and this is what I would like to spread today. Because we know we're on a program, the Cape Flats Stories, and we focus mainly on the Cape Flats and the community. Ons kan nie nou vir ons, ek praat van ons kant. Ek weet julle try om unity te maak reg oor die land, across South Africa. You try to bring the people together. Now, Neil, this is our question to you. It might be, and I saw you don't shy away from any question. Jy's 'n Afrikaner, jy's 'n wit man, jy's op Cape Flats Stories nou vandag. You hear Cape Flats Stories. People might say, and I can't speak for all, my question would arise, you joined the ANC in 1989, if I'm right. I don't know if it's after that, if I'm correct. Then after many years of joining the ANC, you then decided to leave, if it was last year in 2020, you decided to leave them. Or was it before then?
2017.
2017 is okay. Is net die COVID my so agterkry. But okay, 2017 you decided to leave them. But before that, people would ask, but okay, you saw corruption was happening before that already. It was happening, it was right there in it. And some people also ask the question, yeah, you're Afrikaner, you joined in 1989, but the struggle's been right before that. Just to give them some understanding, you were a young man when you joined. You joined out of your own. It's not like you had the support of many around you. What made you first of all join the ANC at that point? I know you said you could see you couldn't stand the segregation and those things. And what made you leave them in 2017 after many years of corruption already? Hoekom het dit tevore af hulle gelos hier en gesê ek kan nie meer vat nie, because politics is a dirty game and we all know that. And what made you decide to join in that very point and to leave at that point after so many years of corruption even?
Yeah, I think, Byron, people will know me. I'm a very straight talker. Unfortunately, I wasn't scheduled for politics. Ek is te reguit, man. And sometimes I'm a little bit hard. Someone called me the Donald Trump of South Africa yesterday. I said, no, I'm the Neil de Beer of Cape Town. Maar ek sê etter, ek kan verskriklik reguit praat. En Biden, as julle my nie gaan vra vanaand wat diep drill nie, then I'm going to be very disappointed, man. So I'm here for that. Because our people want straight talk. Die mense is gatvol. Die mense is gatvol vir lieg. Hulle is gatvol vir politics. Hulle is gatvol vir njanja. Ons moet begin praat, man. En regheid. En that's what I think makes me different. So to me, it has never been about color. It's about dignity. I'm a white guy like Ronnie Casrills or Joe Slovo or Ruth First. I'm like them. But to us, you never spoke about color because we saw dignity being trampled. And remember, I was 18 when I went to the army. Hulle het in ons kop ingedruk, die swart gevaar, die communis, die rooi gevaar, and it was put into our head that this is the enemy. This is Nazi Germany. Young boys of 18, 17 being told that the Jews are bad. That they did not put the uniform of the Nazi on because they decided to kill Jews. They put the Nazi uniform on because they were indoctrinated from birth. Swart, sleg. I lived it. I'm there. I put on a uniform. I picked up a gun. I was 18 years old when I had my first combat mission. 18. At 20, I was a hardened soldier. And in the security police, I moved from the army to the security police because they said I had a talent. And that talent was I had no conscience and I could absolutely focus on terror. It's a talent. And the apartheid government used the people of this country and absolutely destroyed their minds. And then something happens. Now, ons boek is mos nou uit. The book is called Undercover with Mandela Spies. And it is an exclusive book. It was a bestseller 2 years ago for 6 months in a row. Undercover with Mandela Spies tells the story of Neil de Beer, Bradley Steyn, Andre Lincoln, and Jeremy Weary, of this team of guys that fought against an apartheid state. And I clicked, Byron, I clicked. This is an unholy war. This is wrong, not right. And we would have to get up because I've got the right to change my mind. I've got the right to look at things and go, near, not in my name. And I did it in 1988. I progressed 89. I fought a regime, not because I'm white, but because I absolutely disgusted in dignity being taken away. Now, I think I must rectify something. I was not in government since 2017. I'm not a government employee. I've never worked for the government. I've never been in parliament, and I have never been a councillor. I am an ordinary card-carrying member of the ANC. I think people think I've been in government and I've not been. So when you talk about corruption or you talk about ANC, I know what you knew. Because I'm not in government. I vote for the ANC because they are the liberation movement. So people must understand. I don't know if a DA member can just call Helen Zille. Kyk, I staan in die queue and I vote DA and I hou nie vir hulle bel vir Helen. It doesn't work that way. I was a MK fighter. I joined the government of national unity to support it, and then I left. And then I came back, and then in 2017 was my Rubicon moment when I came back, because remember I was overseas for a while. I was in many businesses in Dubai, London, etc. Started the African thing, so people want to know, Neil, where were you for 12 years? I was in Africa. I was building harbors. I was building railroads, and I was mining in Africa. I was doing my own thing. But in 2017, I came back to a country that was folding. That was, I take my car uitgeval. And I went like this. But this can't be. What happened to us? We are now more racial, divided. We are an economy on the brink of collapse, joblessness, poverty, crime. And I decided to stand and to go into the ANC again. Can you imagine? 2017, back in again after 30 years. And Byron, it's easy. I got to the conference in Joburg where we elected Cyril Ramaphosa president. I stood at this conference at Nazareth and I said, if you nationalize lands, nationalize the Reserve Bank, and you are willing to take this economy to a national project like the EFF wants to, then I warned them, I said, I'm out. Because that will be the final economic destruction. Because remember, by then now I'm an economist. I'm writing for newspapers across the world about the African economy. And I found South Africa being lower than Ghana. And I lost. Byron, I lost in 2017. They didn't want to hear me. And subsequently, after the national elections in 2017, I left the ANC. I went again on my own way. And then I came back again because I sold my business internationally to Spain, etc. I came back to South Africa and I found a worse country. 17, 18, 19, 20. It became worse. The EFF took over. The EFF was doing what they wanted to, breaking the country down. And I stood up and I said to myself, now, Byron, here comes the moment. Here it comes. Klim in my car, verkoop my goed, gaan terug Spanje toe. Or fight. And a very good man told me when he saw I was sad, he said to me, Neil, I hear you want to leave the country. And I said, yeah, I can't stay here. Hoekom het ek beklei? For what? Why did Ashley Creel die? For what? For people in Mercedes Benzes. I said, no, this is not, ek kan nie bly nie. And then Byron, he said to me, when you get on your aircraft and you see the miles and miles behind you of your continent, remember that 60 million people needed you. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was it. I got up and I said, okay, let's fight. And
I like what you're talking and it sounds very liberated and 'n klomp mense sal uit konteks uitvat wat jy miskien sê, because you must understand on this platform also and the let me just define, there's a lot of cultural differences we have in this country, and what I get from you is you like to connect, and I like to say I love to see color. I have to see color. If I don't see color, I don't get to understand your struggle and your movement, because even in the Cape Flats, there are so many wat vir ons so glo liberate. There's someone that can grow up in the same road as me, but be more entitled than me and have a different mindset, even though we grew up in the Cape Flats together. Because I understand that I grew up in the Cape Flats. Ek het gangsterism gesien because I was more of a rebel. I went out. My ouers het my nie vashou nie. Now you get kids that's been all their lives in the house. They don't understand what it is. So they become educated intellectuals, but not emotionally in tuned in life. You know? So that's the big difference I want to talk about. And I can see what you talk about is also getting culturals together, getting people together. But I want to ask you, when you guys started the movement, and this is for you and Fatima also, why you joined the movement, when you started the movement, was it more a citizen type of movement where you say, citizens, let's get together, let's fight for it? And then if you can latch on, why did you then decide to become a political party afterwards? As we know, and ek is nie frank, so ek frank is, political parties, jy begin met 'n goeie intensie, but it's so deep rooted with money and with greed and with stuff in it that the circumstances make people lose their ways. What makes the UIM different not to lose their way? As dit omdat jy miskien meer gesettled is in jouself met geld, of jy het 'n background om agter jouself te kyk, or you build a foundation over the years that if you fall, you can fall back on it. Ek wil vra, wat maak die UIM different? What makes you guys different? Because I'm telling you, you are going to face those challenges. You are going to employ more than 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people with different mindsets, because this country is so filled with cultural differences. What makes the UIM different in that way?
I think I will, can I answer the first portion? The reason why Look, for me, this was brought to me. It was never in my mind, and I don't even think it was in Neil's mind to ever become a politician or walk into the political road. I am fine where I'm at the moment. I'm content. My life is okay. I don't need to work. I don't need to do any of what I'm doing now. So it's not a question of I ever decided that one day I want to become a politician. No, this situation was brought to us because of what is happening in our country. We thought, here's the thing that I'm guilty of. I relaxed because I thought, the politicians are taking care of our country, only to find out that they are not. They are taking care of themselves. And it happened gradually, organically, that we are in the position where we are at right now. As it is, this is a party that has nothing. This party has got nothing but ourselves, our faith, and God, and the vision that we have to help the people. Starting for Neil. Ek weet Neil se hart brand warm vir die Kaap. Die Kaapse vlakte en Kaapstad. Dit is wat vir Neil op die oomblik baie belangrik is. Because charity begins at home. And I would obviously be passionate about where I am at right now in Gauteng, want hier ruk dit net so. So the point that I want to make is, because this didn't start as a political party, the vision is going to stay the same. And we keep on reminding ourselves that if you are not in the boxing ring, because a movement cannot make any changes. A movement can praat, a movement can march, a movement can allerhande goed doen. But if we don't get into the boxing ring, there where parliament is and where we can challenge whoever has got the purse, actually we see to it that we get the purse so that the money can be disbursed correctly and not find ourselves in a place where 2 trillion or 3 trillion is stolen and then somebody says, please, here's a crowd fund, please help us to carry on with our party. Because we are from the people. We're just normal people that is frustrated with the setup. And I said in the beginning, when I die one day, I want to die with my grandchildren knowing that my oma het iets gedoen om my toekoms te bewerkstellig. That's what it's all about. We don't need to do this. Neil kan op 'n fly machine geklim het en gewaai het en gesê het nee, ek is baie jammer. But somebody has got to do something. And we just said, okay, we will do it. With the people. Because we don't have all the answers. We're going to need answers from the people that we want to actually serve.
Byron.
En ja, ek wil net gesê het, maar ek wil nie nou 'n spinner in die works gooi nie. I don't want to throw a spanner in there. Ek wil net sê dat die en die ANC het ook so beginne dat hulle gekor het, dis wat ons wil doen, dis wat ons gaan doen. Hier is ons vir julle en ons gaan die vir julle doen. Elke party we had what's it, I don't know if they fully in the CCC or whatever you want to call it, and the what's the other party that we had on Stanley that was Katie McKenzie's guys, Patriotic Alliance. And I asked them this question, nou, hoe kom julle nie saamwerk nie? Julle het aan dieselfde initiative, the same outlook. It's not ready, it's not time. Now you see, people get confused at those moments. And sorry Neil, ek het nou gister wel gepraat het. People get confused at those moments. And I get passionate about it. En ek is nog 'n jong man. Ja, met my komplikasies en ek het ook werk verloor. Ek sien ook die struggles in die Wes-Kaap op die oomblik. Ek kan nie van die hele land praat nie. Ek praat wat ek voor my sien. Wat ek kan voor my sien op die oomblik. And this is what's happening at the moment, is that people speak out, but as soon as people are put in certain positions, things change.
You're right.
Hoe gaan ons hy stop?
Byron, kos mag gemal. Let me quickly rip your program apart.
Daar's hy. Dis wat ons wil hê.
Luister ons Nyanya, this is becoming Gareth Cliff. Kos mag gekak, né? Hoor gou vir my. The colored people of this country are lost. They took the coloreds of this province and they dumped them. Byron, klim daar uit man. You've got nothing to lose. Hoor gou vir my. Before apartheid, the colours were too black. And now after apartheid, the colours are too white. I'm talking colours, indigenous, Khoisan, Griqua, Bushman, what us, ons mense. They took us and they put us into a hole called Mitchell's Plain. Yeah, a hole. Manenberg, Makassar. They took us from District 6, the highline towns of Oranje Zicht. They removed them because of something called apartheid. Kom ons praat gou reguit, Byron. Kom sit gou geen blits in die mix, my bro.
Ek is saam met jou, kom, ek wil hoor.
They took them and they said to them, julle is nie mense nie, ons sê vir julle waar is julle mens, right? So they took them and they put them and they said, now you survive. So hulle het hulle land onteien. They took their land, their wealth. They had wealth. Number 2, no one got up and said, waar's die kleerling bruin gemeenskap? Who are the indigenous owners? The indigenous owners of the Western Cape. No one got up and fought for them and said, whoa. Hier kom mense van die Ooskaap, hulle steek properties af langs my, maar dis my land, maar omdat ek die leiers het in die kleringgemeenskap, leiers wat kan opstaan en wat kan fight, we are losing land. So the colored people of this province are again losing. Number 3, gangsterism, which by the way, Stan will tell you, party naweek sit ek nog bulletproof 'n gun, né? 2 jaar nou in die flats, my broer. Ek stap by straatjies in die aand. Ek ken ons manne. I've been there, shot at, fired at, but I stand my ground with my 100 men. Gangsterism went from gangsterism to this facade of people not actually knowing what's behind gangsterism. Byron, gangsterism is a social, economic degradation of a society. Klaar.
I agree with you totally on that. Nou Neil, hier sit die probleem. Ons gaan in, ons skryf
So what are we going to do about it? So the ANC started 112 years old. So when the ANC came, they promised freedom in school and our movement. En almal het gesê, dis right, Madiba. The DA was a mutation of the PFP, the Democratic Party, and the bloody National Party. So they're not a movement that came from niks tot iets nie. They were movements that were already parties. Patricia de Lille went from the PAC. Kom ek sê vir jou, die PAC is so links, hulle is verby Robben Island. And then she moved right across to the right wing. Nee, praat. Now they're the good party, nee. Maar Tannie Pat skree nie meer oor die firearms deal nie, Byron. Tannie Pat is nou want sy is nou 'n minister saam met die mense wat die geld gesteel het. So kom ons praat, man. So the last true guy that was a politician for the colored community, like it or not, a very good friend of mine, was Alan Boesak. Alan was the last colored leader that took the community and said, we will rise. I'm sorry, never again. There's never been a party, a representative that came from, kom ek sê gou, die wortel van ons as Kaapenaar. Now, Guyton McKenzie, you know where he was for a couple of years. The people that are running around currently sitting and saying that they are the representatives of whoever. Let me quickly tell you, Byron, before you go on and must ask me these questions. We need a leader in this province that can fight crime, that can economically bring jobs back into this province, that can heal the two-city syndrome of rich and poor and heal the divide. And that's where I'm coming in, because I've called it now. Ikapa, Ikaya. Kaapstad is ons huis. Maar op hierdie oomblik onder hierdie government, dis verdeel, dis verpletter, en Dirty Dan Plato, I called him Dirty Dan, because hy wil nie sy hande dirty kry nie. So ek het klaar vir Dirty Vrydag gesê, pak jou goed, jy moet vertrek, want ons in hierdie plek, ons is okay my broer, ons weet, Byron, hoe om onsself reg te maak. Politicians there, we the people here, and that's what Neil de B and the UIM is bringing. In a nutshell, ek hoop ek het nou genoeg gemors.
Kan ek inkom? Kan ek vir iets sê wat net aansluit by Neil? Ek dink ek weet, die UIM is die enigste party waar mense kan sê, we made you. You understand what I'm saying? The people made this party. The people asked Neil, can hierdie UIM movement, can it become a party? The people requested for it to become a party. When we needed to register IEC, our candidates and so on, the people gave their money to make it happen. So if we stuff up, the people will come for us.
Sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not a question of soos die ander partye, they got the monies and so. We are here because the people want us here. It's not because we want to be here. Die mense wil ons hier hê. So we are responsible, we are accountable to the people. And that is why we need to hear from the people what it is that their needs are. En my hart brand vir die Kaapse vlakte. Ek dink op 'n paar van my lives, I spoke about the fact that our young people, een ma se kind maak 'n ander ma se kind dood vir 'n territory. Een ma se kind skiet 'n ander ma se kind dood vir goed wat jare terug gebeur het, revenges wat gevat word en nêrens kom die maans, kry die maans die geleentheid, want ek is 'n auntie, ek sê dit altyd. We as the mothers, we bear the brunt in our communities. We are the ones that have to bury our children and cry and explain what happened to our grandchildren's parent, because 'n ander ma se kind het 'n ander ma se kind doodgemaak. So ons lei van daar af, van onder af, van hier tussen die mense. Want dus die probleme is hier tussen die mense. Ons gaan nie 'n party of ons is nie 'n groep mense wat sê, oh, I am so surprised to find out that there's so much poverty in our country. No, we know. We know there's poverty. We live amongst the people that live in poverty. And they are the guys that's pulling with us. They are the people that's pulling with us. So many of our people that's in part of our ward candidates are normal people. Normale, gewone mense wat gesê het, hoorie man, ons is nou moeg. So it's never us and them, it's collective.
Ek is lief dat ons... Ja,
Sê weer?
sorry. Ek het nog geëindig as. Sorry, jy het gesê? Nee, ek is lief dat ons straight praat and we talking straight. And I want Stanley to bring in Melissa because it's unfair. She wanted to ask a question or say in between. But before I ask that, I just want to Neil and it praat ons nou straight. You see, I also work in corporate, Neil, right? As a colored boy. And I work for many white men. En ek gaan dit so sit buite. And when they're out there, they like for the movement, they for this. I'm doing this. You see, I've got a colored worker here by my side. But emotionally, they break me down. Emotionally, behind the doors, I get broken down in that corporate place. Now, people think it's just about the gangsterism and the colored guys just like that. Being told that you are just potential en dan bring hulle 'n wit meisie of 'n wit klong in, as hulle, sy het ook nie geleerdheid nie, maar sy het nou haar pa, hulle ken nou die werk, sy kry 2 keer jou salaris, maar jy het geleerdheid, nou moet jy nog deur die CCMA gaan en alles om jou salaris te kry, of jy moet eers anders kyk. Mistrust also in this country, we need to acknowledge it. There is racism deep-rooted in this country still. With people that's in charge that sings out, Kumbaya, ek staan vir die swart, die bruin, die Indians. And this is why it's hard to trust people that's in charge when you look at them with a different color. Want ons moet clear sien, laat ons kan wakker raak. En ek is lief vir wat julle gesê het nou. And what you say, yes, I don't see, I'm fighting for it and I'm trying to learn people's different cultures and stuff. Maar ek gaan jou nou sê, Neil, het gaat swaar wees om vir iemand of vir jou te trust en jy het alle goeie intenties. Jou track record is daar. But the mental illness that's in this country is making it hard. That's why, like you said, I came to vote for the ANC still in 2017. Ek is weg vir 12 jaar, maar I still know that they are catching on nonsense, but ek trust nog hulle. Now imagine those people that grow up with race. Hulle gaan dit nog altyd swaar vir hulle om hulle vote te gee, even if they know it is wrong. How are we gonna help people mentally with that? Ek moet nou nie werklik ook begin.
But Byron,
Yes.
you trusted the colored guy called Dan Plato, and how did that go?
I did not trust him. That's a blanket statement. That's a blanket. That's a blanket statement.
People of the Western Cape voted in
That's
a
right.
colored man, Dan Plato, because they thought that that man is at least from them, is at least from their culture, is at least their guy. And now you're sitting in a city that is more divided than it was 20 years ago. I mean, I'm standing in a city where Dan Plato's office is, where the people called me, 86 families in tents outside Cape Town city offices, my friend. And they don't even have a toilet. Now, what's a man is that? What impetus do we have when your own culture says to you, Futek? So you know what? Here's the thing, Byron. When you think you are your own, you are not your own. Want is partymal jou eie mense wat jou nie regsteek. Now, I'm sorry to tell you this. And there's my favorite fan, Michelle. Daar's Michelle, in all your glory. Ek Byron is nou eers besig. I'm telling you right now, you've got a white premier, sir. You got a white premier. It's called Ellen Windy.
Die wind waai ook vir hom een kant toe, moenie worry nie.
But so the problem we've got, Byron, is we've had black in Noma India Umfaketu. We had Ibrahim Rasool. We had Helen Zeller. We had Patricia die Gril de Lille. We had Dan, the dirty Plato. Now, Jay, how many more cultures and colors and people do you want to sausage through this city until we realize it's not about color. It's about respect of culture, respect of indigenous religion, and the people's plight of sitting in a city so divided with have and have not, Byron. I've just mentioned 5 mayors, all 5 different cultures, all different colors. Maybe it's time that we stop voting colored mayors and in color, and maybe we start voting for a mayor that cares. How about that?
Ek wil nog gesê vir Michelle na 'n vraag vra. Do you know what? And I love what you guys are saying. En ek gee altyd vir almal die opportunity, because that's what I would like to do, to understand where people come from. But my point of view is, from my side, and dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, despite what I love what you said, cultural differences. Want ek ken wit klonkies wat saam met my opgegroei het in Lansdowne en hulle het dieselfde cultural ways so ek het. Ek ken swart klonkies wat hy kan opgegroei het, same cultural ways, Indians or what, no matter. It's where you grew up, also your values and all those things. Yes, we must not see color, but unfortunately, we still see it from a certain eye. Now, if I approach a situation, ek gaan sê, ek wil weet in hy werkplek, wie is jou leadership, to the nitty-gritty, because those are the things that touch our economy, and it touch our working people that looks after this economy. Their mental health is the most important thing, because we can fight for money and for everything all we want. But if that mental health from that economy takedown is not sorted, those jobs can shut down because of egos and people that's feeling threatened by a person that has a better mindset of growing and moving forward, which I believe you not, Neil, because you're an established businessman. So jy gaan miskien nou 'n jong man wil opbring en sê dat hy groei. But unfortunately, you mentioned it now, we had many cultural differences in that cabinet. But some van hulle het nie geld nie. None of them know how to handle money. It's new money, and we know what new money does. It spends quickly, it goes into debt. And this, unfortunately, we have it. Again, going to cultural differences. We sit with people that's in ANC. They grew up with chiefs and stuff. Don't respect. Does respect for your father or this or that. If a chief does something, don't question him. We have to take that in accountability. So I'm just going to leave that there. En ek wil hê Melissa Michelle my 'n vraag vra voor ek nou nie vir haar kans kry. Sy het 'n hele boeklet geskryf, maar sy sê jy het my nooit opgebring nie. So let's just go there.
Dave, man. The fan.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, dankie Brandon dat jy vir my opportunity gegee het, maar ek sal vir Neil op 'n ander tyd gekry het. Net vir Neil gou net. Neil, ek vertrou in die Here. So my vertroue is nie in jou nie, maar ek weet dat die Here vir jou he gave you grace to lead this country because you're not scared. You have got a backbone. So the questions that I'm going to ask you comes from quite a few people. So the one question is, what is your stand in terms of land reform and illegal occupation of land in the Western Cape?
Michelle, ek en jy gaan 'n koffie drink. Ek bedoel as ek en jy 'n koffie drink hier, wat ek sommer in die land. En Byron moet saamkom.
Yeah.
And stay and sit there and order the muffins so that we all in. Michelle, it's very clear. This province, and I'll echo what Byron says. This province needs to do 5 things. And if we get the 5 right, Michelle, it will reset. Can I call it a reset?
Yes.
Our country, because I think what Byron also maybe doesn't know. I'm the ex-manager of the Springbok under-21 rugby team that won a World Cup in 2005 in Argentina. I was the manager of that Rugby World Cup team. And I had people there of all diverse cultures, but one thing I could do is I could make 36 young boys get together, believe in a dream, focus, and fight. Now, that's what we need to do in the Western Cape. That's what we need in Cape Town. Land in this city is currently being occupied by people that, I'm saying it, are not from the city. It's got nothing to do with land ownership. It's got to do with occupying space illegally, coming from outside the city and just taking land. The UIM will not allow that. The UIM will not allow illegal land grabbing, be it by hostile takeover or by illegal occupation. The UIM will look at people, Michelle, that has been on the housing waiting list, Stan, for more than 30 years. Okay. There are people that are currently sitting on the waiting list for 22 years. They will die before they actually get their house. I faced them in Mitchell's Plain 2 weeks ago. So it's easy. Stop the land grab, stop the land invasion, immediately look at a restitutional plan where we can bring land. And now I'm going to probably piss off half the people that are billionaires and equity holders in Upper East States. There is nothing wrong with mixed property development, intercity and outer city, where the poor, the middle, and the higher class income owners can actually share in the same services, in the same regions for upliftment. So that's my answer. Straightforward. We've got to finish the housing lands. We've got to stop the invasion, and we've got to bring a better integrated city plan, because without that, we are never going to stop the class distinctions in this town, Michelle.
Thank you for that, Neil. And then, Fatima, I want you to also to come in when I'm going to raise this question, because I was confronted with racism 2 weeks ago. Colored people are disadvantaged by affirmative action, right? And it's still happening in the Western Cape, in Kapen, where I was told by security guards that I'm a coolie because I look like an Indian. Julle colored goed. This is our time. How will the UIM address this issue in terms of race? I know people are transformed by the renewing of their mind. So if people don't renew their mindsets, things will still stay the same. That is my one question. And to go quickly over to the next one, corruption, poverty, high unemployment, and violent crime is a big problem in South Africa or in the Western Cape. How will these issues be addressed? Okay. And I know, Neil, I know you've got zero tolerance for crime, and you also said that you will bring back law to get back order. So,
okay, well, can I answer the first question and then Neil will do the second question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, in this part of South Africa, the colored people are being, it's the same story, I can say. We have to prove ourselves a lot because we are in the minority this side. Yeah. I can just give you an example. My daughter she used to study and she had to prove herself as a colored person to both white and black. Same as double gewerkt, because there's this notion that colored people are not so intelligent here. I don't know what's happening in Cape Town. So it is, I think racism will always be there. Always. There will always be discrimination and racism in all over the world. It's not just in South Africa. Okay. What we as a people should get to is self-love. Because I think the biggest challenge that we as a group of people have is the self-hate, self-doubt, lack of identity sometimes in some places because of the narrative that has been perpetuated. You don't know who you are. You don't have a background. You don't have a history. And we actually started believing that when in actual fact we are a colorful and a cultural filled, a group of people that are filled with different cultures and backgrounds, and we must celebrate it. So I think let's start with self. So when you walk into a room or in a wherever you walk into, people must know that they must take you for you and never mind your race. But let's get to the solution. I wrote here this afternoon the diversity dialogues, open dialogues regarding cultural diversity and similarities. We never got to that place. When we became a new South Africa 27 years ago, we just carried on as if it's life as usual, but we never came together as groups around tables in halls to talk about our journeys, our backgrounds, how they see us and how we see them. Because Black people still think that we are the privileged, not so Black and not so white people, because our townships will look a little bit better, because the Black people used to work for us. So there is that divide. And amongst colored people themselves, Michelle en jy kan getuig daarvan. Onder ons eie mense, we discriminate against each other. Ligte coloureds voel hulle is beter as donker van kleur coloureds. Gladde hare coloureds met blou oë coloureds dink hulle is beter as kroes coloureds. So it starts, we have to start with ourselves, because when we have cleansed here and we have had those open discussions of a father refusing his son to get married to a woman, even though he is colored, but when his son comes into a house, to their house with a woman who is a bit darker than them, then there's a problem. So ons, as breinmense, moet self-ondersoekend raak. Want the way we see each other, people will look at us. We were supposed to be the bridge builders of this country because we come from everybody. We were supposed to be the people that was as inclusive as possible, because you have a Xhosa grandmother, an Indian father, a Khoi grandmother. We were supposed to be like that, but we didn't. We positioned can we blame the apartheid system? Yeah, a little bit, because they moved us around and they separated us from our Black brothers and sisters. But still, even in that, we have to get to a point where we are satisfied with who we are in our identities. Griekwa wil nie met Koi meng nie. Koi sê hulle is beter as die San sê hulle is beter as die Korana. Still, we're still fighting each other. So how can we expect other people not to see us as different if we amongst ourselves haven't accepted ourselves? So it starts with self, and that is a discussion that's going to be ongoing for the rest of our lives, because we are 27 years in a backlog. Never did. And this is where we are at right now.
Love that.
agree.
Michelle, thank you so much for your questions. Also, I love that what you say. I just add on to that. The difficult part is environment, your health, your mental strength, and your mental health. If your environment is bad, it's difficult to get out of that. So yes, with all that said, that we have to take accountability, and I'm a big praiser for taking accountability. Ek slaat self hartseer op my kleerling mense wat ek opgroei met, and people that grow up around me. But unfortunately, our environment is toxic. And when your environment is toxic, and this is what you guys are saying you trying to find solutions for, and I'm not going to say you have solutions for, but trying to find solutions for, is to change that environment, and that's where it will help in the end of the day. But Stanley was nou die hele tyd stil. Ek het gedog ek is net sy side chick vandag. Ek wil geheer dat hy moet 'n vraag gevra het, want hy sit daar brand met vrae. But before you ask that question, Stanley's going to ask a question. I want you and Neil just to sum up in a conclusion for us what it means to you to fight for your people. Not to say, die gaan ek doen, die gaan ek doen, die gaan ek doen nie. Because people need to hear that from an authentic point of view. You know, these are not the questions people ask at the end. What it means to you, Neil, and what it means to you, Fatima. I'm going to leave it to Fatima first. I'm going to leave it to Neil then. But Stanley, ek wil jy moet 'n vraag vra. Ek kan nie met my heel nag so side chick los en al die vrae laat vra nie. I know you've got one there. I know it's got burning, and I know you've got your questions.
Okay, yeah. There's just one question I want to ask Neil and Fatima. After 27 years, this country has gone backwards. A lot of things has gone wrong. We have corruption. I mean, the ANC is doing a backer buddy thing where they're looking for money. That is a good sign for us that there's no money left in this country anymore. The problem that I have, the 12%, and I think this is a question that is on everybody's mind. They want to take 12% of our yearly income or monthly income towards a fund, a pension fund that we have to pay out of our pockets. We are already paying so a lot of tax. We are paying already so a lot of money on electricity. I mean, we have aunties on the Cape that buys on a daily basis a 10 rands worth of units or electricity. I want to know, Neil, we need urgent intervention. How are we going to fix? First of all, when the ANC leaves, there is a lot of work to be done. Unemployment, like I mentioned, there is poverty. Is there an easy plan? Because I believe that this is going to take a couple of years for us to fix up. And how can we look at what can the UIM assure the people out there? First of all, with the 12%, how are you protesting this? Because I know that the DA is currently busy with a type of a thing where they want to oppose this. So what is the stand of the UIM on this 12%?
Sal ek kom vat, Fatima?
Yeah.
Stan, it's sorry. I know it always sounds that I'm repetitive, Byron, but Michelle, hear me well. I am an international banker. I have been overseas now for 7 years financing Africa to the tune of more than $5 billion. I can't give money to my own country because they don't qualify of credit. How shocking is that? I'm a South African on an international investment funds board, and I must give my money to Madagascar. Now, dis skokkend, man. So here's the thing, Byron, Stan. Number one, we need to start doing what they call intra-trading before we do international trading. The city of Cape Town, because we're talking about that today, was a scalper, ons praat van die flats, used to be the textile platform of this country. We destroyed textiles. There's no more textile industry left. Can we agree?
Yeah. Okay.
We killed the textile industry because we imported from China. So it's easy to fix the economy. Now, number one, we will vehemently attack any VAT rise or any further taxation that is put on our people, be it a ESCOM levy that killed our homes or any fuel levy, because we cannot afford it anymore. We are at nearly 40% unemployment. This city has a budget of 59 billion. I'll say it again, a year. And it's our policy as the UIM that 3/4 of that expenditure will be turned around in this city by promoting, buying from, and investing in local business. It's as simple as that. Number two, we must become self-sustainable in energy. There is enough land and there's enough systems that we can generate off-the-grid energy that should be cheaper. And thirdly, if we don't start building, maintaining, and creating sport, youth center, and facilities to live and build in our societies, centers of life skill, then we have failed the people, and the UIM gets it. Kry die jong mense van die straat af en kry hulle educated in 'n gebou. Give them computer skills, and that's the program. Fight crime, look at social development, create interjobs, make sure there's people that can give us grassroots education, and make sure the money that is in Cape Town stays in Cape Town. Now, I want to ask, on anybody that you've interviewed, do you really think that they have the international clout, Byron, Stan, to fly to Germany and to go sit there and ask the people to invest in Kapstadt? Verstehen das mich? Wir wollten das Arbeiten in Kapstadt haben und wir haben das schnell. They can speak like me languages. I don't know. Fertig, das Schloss, das geben them all. So, from my point of view, I'm going to add one more thing, Stan. May I?
So, Neil. So,
Kan ek vir julle wys op plaas van sê?
yes.
Dis tyd om te werk.
Daar's hy.
Dis tyd om te werk, my broer. And I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, but I don't get a feeling that our councillors, our mayor, and our people are working. I don't see them working. I don't find them anywhere. I don't now, under a mayorship of me, jy gaan gemoer word, my broer. As jy nie by die kantoor 6:00 is nie, kom haal ek jou. Because the people of Cape Town want answers, and they want people to serve them, not to tell them what to do, Byron. It's time to get back to work in Cape Town.
Love that answer. Ek het lief my pa het altyd gesê tot ek gesê Derek sukkel om werk te kry, sê jy hy het tette gemaak as klom werk daar buite. As klom werk daar buite. Net so vir ons gesê. Ons het so groot geraak. That's why I'm sitting without a job, but ek glo ek met kanker en stage 4 cancer en alles. Ek is nie bang nie want ek weet ek is nie bang vir werkie en jy het dit nou mooi opgesom. Hy's nou iets wat ons ja.
And Byron, sorry, can I add one more thing? The UIM is not scared of meeting other political movements or political parties to form coalitions. We are not scared of it. I spoke, it's on record. Myself and Fadil Adams, we meet each other. Yeah. Can I praat? Why? Because Fadil and the guys of the CCC have a different market than me, Byron. It doesn't mean I can't work with them. But I will never take it now, and you, Byron, want jy gaan nog lank lewe by my.
Of course,
Byron,
man.
and you, Stan, inshallah, You listen to me, inshallah. Godse woord. You gonna see Byron, a UIM government. And you're gonna see a government that even if it's just for 5 years in God's grace, you will see a change, because that change is you and me. But I declare it now, Fatima, we will never negotiate with the EFF or the ANC to form any sort of government as long as I am alive. And you're going to outlive me, Byron. I'll tell you that. There's a fight, my bro. Fatom, skryf hom. We don't work with domestic terrorists.
Okay, ek hoor sy employment next week, so daai sit ek vir my buite vir almal. So, right. Okay.
Ja. Ek persoonlik, I will also not form a coalition with the DA. I am vehemently against that party because I see them for what they are. I saw something this afternoon, and anything that is done against the child, you are enemy number one with me. But Michelle asked a question about crime. And so crime has to do with a lot of things. I think the best thing right now that should have happened was to actually put policemen and people who know about safety and security, etc., in different positions. I think that will take care of a whole lot of problems that we have, because right now we have a minister of police that is, I don't know, was he ever a policeman? But anyway, we will have to put qualified people, not have to, we will put qualified people in those positions, but we will also have community participation. Get the aunties involved, because it is their children that is being killed, that is being harmed, and so on. The one thing that SAPS is not doing, which they are supposed to do, is to have an annual AGM with the communities that they serve. And they are supposed to give the communities feedback of what it is that they plan for the year, and also get input from the community as to what is really happening. And the other thing is, I think we all know that 90% of our SAPS members are being paid by the criminals that they are supposed to fight. Am I right? Those
Yeah, we came to that part of the show. Ons sal heel nag seker ons praat so lekker saam met mekaar. We'll probably speak all night. Want ons kry nou so lekker gesels. Kyk hoe sê Fatima, ay jene man.
Dis geen nog 2 minute. Fatima, ons gee nog 2 minute.
What I say, Stanley, you see, the director has spoken. So Fatima, Fatima gaan nou aflos.
Ja, dit is al wat ek wil sê ten slotte, is dat dan met regtig, we have to eradicate the corrupt element, the stealing and the criminal element out of our policemen, and get fresh police members from all races, because we are serving people in all communities. Because currently there's 90% of only black policemen, and I say that wonder. I don't know, in the Western Cape there might be more colored policemen because they are representative demographically. But I think that balance needs to be there, and proper training and I can carry on and on. But community participation is key in terms of eradicating crime, because it's close to the heart of the people. If our people keeps on killing each other, what is going to happen? Wie gaan oorwees?
Dis die waarheid, Fatima. That is the truth that you're speaking there. If you don't know if Stanley was verloor het, or his thing is freezing because I don't know if we can bring the screen back, because we're leaving Fatima now solely on the screen, Stanley. But the question I asked earlier, just to end it off, because guys, in the end of the day, ons praat politics, we're talking all these things, but let's not forget where we find ourselves today. We are in a pandemic. We're losing loved ones. I can assume some of you have lost people that's close to you, people you worked with, people you loved. I've lost people that's been praying for me during my cancer journey, even as such, and they're gone. And that's the realism of the life we're living in. Ons plap 'n klei so far kom in mekaar in die liewe, but ons vergiet dat die liewe is maar net daar vir 'n tydjie, en ons moet aanbou vir die next generasie. We must build on for our children, our children's children, children's children, and we are only living for now. So for now, I want you to tell people what it means to you, because it's about your party. And I love what you were talking about. Ek agree met some goede, ek disagree met some goede, but this is perspective. It's my mindset, and I can't always agree on everything. But I agree with a lot of things you've brought forward. But on a human level, en ek weet mense wil gehoor het net van seker van party politicians, gangsterism, die ANC doen nie hy nie, die DA doen nie hy nie. But from a human point of view, what does it mean to you at this point of view still to fight being part of the UIM, or in a pandemic, as I said, losing lives? What does this party mean to you moving forward? And I'll go with you first, Fatima, want ek het jou gestop verhoor out of respect.
Ja, jy's 100% reg. I'm always aware of the fact that we are also fighting for our lives in general. We can be talking to each other now. One of us can be gone within the next few days for whatever reason. So life is unpredictable. So everything that we do, we are always conscious of the fact that God's grace is there, God's will. I pray every day that God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So dit is waar my spiritual relationship met God 'n baie groot rol speel, want ek is nie, I'm not able to determine for how long I will live. That is all in God's hands. So we are being responsible in terms of what we do, and adhering to some of the rules. I adhere to some of the rules, but it means part of my purpose is to be in the UIM right now and doing what I am doing right now. Every day I ask God, what is it that you want me to do right now in the UIM? Because for me, the UIM is the vehicle of doing God's will.
Neil is nou verstom gewees. Hy het so mooi gepraat. Toe gaan hy nie in nie. Normally kon hy gou in. But so is Fatima die president in 2 weke se tyd as hy nog uitkyk. But that's all about growth. As hy 'n betere plan het, as dit 'n betere plan. So Neil,
baie veel hy moet hy beter aanhou en uithou, hy bietjie bly.
Ja, hulle probeer my nie lewe hou met al die body want hulle sê die mense my nek. Byron, no, when I was sitting and listening to Fatima, you asked a very big question, which very, very few people ask me these days, and that's how am I? I've now been in this fight a year, in this ugly thing called politics. I really did not believe that my future would be to run for president one day of a country, or even a mayor of a city. I'm okay in where I was. If you know who I am, and you spend a week with me in my vehicle, we feed 5,000 people a week. 5,000. And we're not even government, but the UIM feeds 52 soup kitchens every week. When you go stand in Heideveld, or you go stand in Makassar, or like Fatima and myself on Thursday will go to Ocean View and Delft, and you stand there in the mid of cold, and the ladies made soup of the vegetables that we drop, and a little girl comes to you with a Tupperware. And it's the only meal she had for the day. And you scoop the soup into that bowl. And I'm a dad. And you see queues on queues. How do we live in a land that we believe that God made, when we can't even feed our people? I give a quarter of everything I have every month, because if I can do this by building houses like I did in Philippi, feeding 5,000 people a week, fighting crime myself and funding it to keep people alive. When you stand like I did a month ago over a dead body in Tafelsig, a boy shot 5 times, and we caught the murderer. And you see the blood going out of this young boy, and his mom comes and finds out it's her son. What have we become? This is not politics to Neil de Beer. This is now a mission. This is a quest that I am going to stand tall. I will not be threatened like I am by the government or anybody else to give up. The UIM started through heart, through God, and through you, the people. Now, we are not big. We now have 40 councillors out of 116 that stood up, and we are going to fight. We are going to fight not for anybody else, but for ourselves. And if this city can find itself, can put culture, race, and intolerance and class division just for a moment aside, we will be the United Republic of South Africa again. We will remember 95, that World Cup moment where color, race, religion counted not, but a burning desire to be a united country. And that, Byron, no one will take from us as South Africans. Because in the depth and in the depth of hate, in the depth and in the depth of separation, we are a united South Africa. And we will rise again, because we can't get lower than where we are now. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm waiting for that strength, Byron. Daai diep ingetrekte sorg van mens. Daai ding wat ek weet ons het, en in die Kaap het ons dit baie vir ons na mekaar kyk. So that's Neil. I'm ready. And that's how I feel right now.
I love what you said there, and you know why it hit home to me, because I grew up with a mom and a dad, 'n pa wat uit die Bonte wil uitkom wat gesê het hy is so niks. 'n ma wat uit die Bishop bly was met klomp siekte. Sy voer mense vir 16 jaar uit haar eie sak uit. And there's a Michelle lady that popped up somewhere that said she's looking for donations, and I know the pain she feels. And after 15 years, my mom got a little bit of donations from a shop or so. En toe kom mense al nader te sê, ja, sy doen dit vir die geld, sy doen dit vir dit. So I can relate to how you feel, Neil. I can relate. There's going to be people who say, hy doen dit om naam te hê, hy doen dit vir die. But my pain is what I see, and I can see it in your eyes, and I hope it stays authentic, and I hope it stays authentic moving forward, because I'm a person, and as I'm going to put out there, klomp mense gaan sê, miskien jy's 'n stupid jong man, maar jy gaan jou sê, hoe kan ek intelligent? Ek het nog nooit in my lewe gewou nie. En as omdat ek so intelligent is, as omdat ek so in tune is met politics, met die wêreld, en try mense te verstaan. But ek try nie vir jou te promote, ek doen dit nie. Stanley ons het vir JP opgegeet, JP geding, ek try om hom te tart, toe ek kom vra, want elke ding was, ek moenie ANC eers te vra, dis altyd die ander persoon. But vanaand het ons gepraat, ek gaan dit doen, ek vat accountability. Ek vat accountability, en dis die woord wat ek los vanaand met julle ook. Accountability, I hear from you guys, and I hope, and I'm telling you, and I hold you accountable. I'm holding both of you accountable. Môre gaan ek julle weer kom vra, as ek sien julle stap verkeerd, dan gaan ek sê, Neil en Fatima, wat het verkeerd gegaan? Julle het hier kom promises maak. And don't run away then. Stand up for it. And yes, you're right. We need someone that has the experience. You brought a rugby analogy up. I'm a football and a sports lover, and people don't understand how important that is, leadership and management and morale. En ons 'n country lek alles van hy goed. Vra vir Arsenal Football Club. Ons weet dit, ons sien dit. But you guys get what I'm saying, and I'm not going to say I love the work you're doing. I want you to continue trying to strive for what you believe in. And this is what I want to leave with both of you and your team. And I can see mense gaan seker baklei en mense gaan agree in die comment section. Gaan seker sê hier's klomp wit mense net op. Hulle gaan sê nee, dis nie vir kleurling mense nie. Whatever might be, never lose your philosophy on what you want to do, because that people normally lose on the way. So thank you, Stan. Jy gaan seker vir ons afsluit. Dankie. Yes.
Something, Byron. Sorry, just before my brother from another mother stand, can I just add that we are launching my mayoral campaign on Saturday in Delft, Byron. We chose Delft because that is a community that is so divided and so apart. But yeah, Saturday, 10 o'clock, we'll announce the venue, but I'm in Delft, we're launching our party, our mayoralship for Cape Town. So that's good news.
Good luck on that. Ek gaan nakom wees. Ek wil ook 'n bietjie donation sê. Ek speel man.
Jy moet wat doen, my broer.
Kan ek sê daarom ek ken ook die meye as ons so gebeur. So ons praat lekker.
As hy
Neil, ek wil baie dankie sê vir jou. You know, ek moet dit sê, ek volg jou op die Kaapse vlakte. Ek doen dit by Dekke buite. En wat jy in Mitchells Plain doen, het hierdie mense gehelp daar. Ek het nie vergeet nie, jy was op die TV gewees voor dit ook. Het jy die mense daar gehelp, as ook ek volg jou as jy kos uitdeel. Dis sien dit nou nie, dit is lankal al, so ek moet dit net regstel. Ek is nie bias nie, maar wanneer ek sien iemand reg doen, dan moet ek die persoon komplimenteer. En so baie dankie vir jou, Neil, van jy maak dit makliker vir die ander mense. Dan kan ons fokus op ander mense wat ook help nodig het. So baie dankie van jou en jou span, ons waardeer dit. Dit gaan nie, you know, unnoticed nie. Ek het gesien dat, you know, jy het iewers mense getrain. Ek dink in Mitchells Plain, you know, hoe om hulle self te hanteer. So, en ek weet, jy het jou eie voorsoek, so baie dankie vir dit, dat jy die bietjie confidence terugbring in ons gemeenskap, en so ek waardeer dit, en namens my mense, sê ek dankie, hoor.
Thanks, Dan.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you, Fatima, it was nice having you on the show as well. Dankie dat jy, het was so maklik gewees, you know, ander partye vat jy so lank om deur te kom, die man is nog nie eens in parlement nie, was so klaar moeilik om by uit te kom, so baie dankie vir jou wat bereid was, aan 'n halfuur het jy my teruggekontak, so baie dankie Fatima.
Hulle so die influencer.
Byron, thank you, Dan. We are always available. Keep us to it. The only way that you know that you are doing well is when you are grounded and people remind you who you are. And Byron, I look forward to sitting back here in a year's time and not telling you what we want to do, but what we have done. And that's more important.
Maar ek gaan in jou deurklop as hy baklei vir die regte ding, dan gaan jy my CV sien. So kyk voort na dit. As ek sien julle werk hard, as sien jy my CV nie. Ek is 'n persoon wat persistent is. So but grappig en kant. Have a beautiful evening, guys.
Yes,
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Neil de Beer and Fatima Abdool and Michelle Peterson that joined us. An hour is too little for us to ask questions and to, you know, talk to everybody. But thank you very much for you guys that followed tonight's broadcast. Thank you for everybody that tuned in, the questions that you guys asked. Thank you so much. And I want you guys to follow them to see what they do. You know, die rede vir die show is om mense te educate, om mense te aware te maak. Daar's parties buite wat werk, daar's parties buite wat mense kan gaan kyk na. Ek is een ding wat ek sê, ek is nie bias nie, ek sê nie of jy moet vote nie, maar die opsies is daar vir ons om te, you know, om te sien wie werk in ons gemeenskap. So baie dankie vir almal wat deelgeneem het. Ek waardeer dit. Ons gaan next week gaan ek iemand baie interessant op die program het. Somebody that many of you guys are talking about and you guys are very unhappy with, but he's going to come and talk to us and give us his view on politics. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a lovely and beautiful evening, guys. For the Cape Flats, from the Cape Flats with love. Thank you.